Hello there, and welcome to Something to Sleep to YouTube channel. I'm so glad you're here. Maybe you've had a long day. Maybe your mind is still spinning from everything that happened. Or maybe you just love learning about the strange and wonderful places on our planet while you drift towards sleep. Either way, tonight's journey is for you. There's nothing you need to do right now. Just let your shoulders drop, let your breathing slow down, and let your thoughts wander wherever they want to go. Because tonight, we're descending into one of the most mysterious places on Earth. Not outer space, though it might as well be. Not some distant planet, though the creatures there seem alien enough. We're going down into the deep ocean, beneath the waves, past the sunlight, into darkness so complete that most humans will never see it. Down there, in the cold and the pressure and the endless black, life thrives in ways we're only beginning to understand. There are ecosystems built not on sunlight, but on chemicals bubbling from the Earth's crust. There are creatures that make their own light, that hunt in total darkness, that survive pressures that would crush a submarine. There are partnerships between animals and bacteria so intimate that neither can live without the other. These aren't fantasy creatures. They're real, living right now, miles beneath the surface of the sea. And tonight, we're going to meet them. We'll descend slowly through the ocean's layers, watching the light fade, feeling the temperature drop, understanding how life adapts to conditions that seem impossible. We'll visit volcanic vents on the seafloor where water boils and minerals rain like snow. We'll explore methane seeps where cold chemicals bubble up and feed entire communities. We'll meet fish that fish with lights, worms that grow taller than people, and octopuses with ears like elephants. So if you're ready, let's begin our descent. Let's leave the surface behind and sink down into the blue, into the twilight, into the midnight depths where the ocean keeps its deepest secrets. The ocean doesn't change all at once. As you descend from the surface, the transformation happens gradually, zone by zone, each layer distinct from the one above it. Scientists divide the ocean into 5 major zones based on depth and light penetration. And each zone has its own character, its own temperature, its own community of life. At the very top, from the surface down to about 200 meters, lies the sunlight zone. This is the ocean most of us know, the one we swim in, the one we see in documentaries. Here, light penetrates fully, warming the water, driving photosynthesis. Phytoplankton drift through these bright waters, turning sunlight into energy, forming the base of the marine food chain. 90% of all marine life lives in this zone, and it represents less than 2% of the ocean's total volume. It's crowded, warm, and full of activity. Dolphins leap, tuna hunt, jellyfish pulse through the blue. Everything is visible here, everything is exposed. But water absorbs light. The deeper you go, the less light reaches you. Colors disappear in order, longest wavelengths first. Red fades away in the first 10 meters, absorbed completely. Then orange vanishes around 40 meters. Yellow disappears before you reach 100 meters. By the time you descend to 200 meters, only blue and green light remain, weak and filtered, barely enough to see by. And then you enter the twilight zone. The mesopelagic zone stretches from 200 meters down to 1,000 meters. In the upper reaches, faint blue light still filters down from above, but it grows dimmer with every meter of descent. By the bottom of this zone, the light is so weak that human eyes can barely detect it. This is neither day nor night, but something in between. A permanent dust that never brightens, never darkens, just hangs there in the water column, blue and ghostly. The temperature here drops sharply. Near the surface, the ocean can be warm, heated by the sun. But in the twilight zone, that warmth disappears. The The water cools to between 5 and 4 degrees Celsius, just above freezing. The pressure increases too, rising with every meter. At 500 meters depth, the pressure is 50 times greater than at the surface. At 1,000 meters, it's 100 times greater. The water presses in from all sides, relentless and heavy. Yet life is everywhere here. In fact, the twilight zone may contain more fish by weight than any other part of the ocean. Scientists estimate that about 90% of the world's fish, roughly 10 billion tons of them, live in this zone. One species alone, the bristlemouth fish, may number around a quadrillion individuals, making them the most numerous vertebrates on the planet. They're small, only a few centimeters long, with large eyes adapted for dim light and rows of photophores along their bellies. These light-producing organs glow softly, a defensive measure called counter-illumination. When a predator looks up from below, the fish's belly lights match the faint light from above, making the fish nearly invisible. Lanternfish do the same thing. They're named for the pattern of photophores scattered across their bodies like tiny lanterns. During the day, these fish descend deep into the twilight zone to avoid predators. But at night, they rise hundreds of meters toward the surface to feed on the abundant plankton there. This daily vertical migration is one of the largest movements of biomass on Earth. Billions upon billions of fish, squid, and crustaceans traveling up and down the water column every single day, moving nutrients between the deep and shallow ocean, connecting ecosystems that seem separate. The hatchetfish is another twilight resident, thin as a blade when viewed from the front, evolved to minimize its silhouette. Its eyes point upward, searching for prey above, and its body gleams silver, reflecting what little light exists. Squid drift through this zone too, their arms trailing, their eyes enormous. In low light, bigger eyes gather more photons, and many twilight creatures have developed eyes disproportionately large for their bodies. Some squid have eyes the size of dinner plates, the largest eyes in the animal kingdom. But the most striking feature of the twilight zone is bioluminescence. Down here, where sunlight fails, life makes its own light. Fish glow, jellyfish sparkle, squid flash patterns across their skin. The darkness is not complete. It's punctuated by flickers and glimmers, by sudden bursts of blue-green light, by the constant quiet glow of creatures moving through the water. Some use their light to hunt, flashing to startle prey. Some use it to communicate with others of their species. Some use it to confuse predators, ejecting clouds of glowing particles and swimming away while the predator attacks the light. And some fish use light to see. In the deeper parts of the twilight zone, where almost no sunlight reaches, certain fish have evolved headlight organs near their eyes, beaming light forward to illuminate their surroundings. They're the only source of light in their world, and they use it to navigate, to hunt, to survive in the dimness. But even the twilight zone's faint glow eventually fails. Descend deeper, and you leave the last traces of sunlight behind. You enter true darkness. You enter the midnight zone. At 1,000 meters, the last photon of sunlight is absorbed. The bathypelagic zone begins here and extends down to 4,000 meters, and it is a place of total, absolute darkness. No natural light reaches these depths, not from the sun, not from the moon, not from the stars. If you turned off your lights here, you would see nothing. Not shapes, not shadows, not even your hand in front of your face. Just black. The water temperature here hovers near freezing, around 4 degrees Celsius. It never changes. There are no seasons in the midnight zone, no daily cycles, no weather. Just cold, dark water pressing down with immense force. At 2,000 meters, the pressure is 200 times greater than at sea level. At 4,000 meters, it's 400 times greater. Every square inch of surface experiences thousands of pounds of pressure,